Good morning and welcome to CBS News Mornings. It is 7 o'clock here in New York City. Of course, I'm Anne-Marie Green, and here's a look at the stories grabbing our attention right now. I know you already know this. It is cold out there. Well, the winter storm is also deadly, slamming parts of the country, and even more snow, ice, and frigid temperatures are in the forecast. Who needs to be on high alert this weekend? Donald Trump takes aim at top New Hampshire rival Nikki Haley just days before the high-stakes primary. But could she actually win the state? New polling might surprise you. U.S. targets Houthi rebels in Yemen. While two nuclear powers trade attacks, tensions have escalated to new levels in the Middle East. Stay with us for updates on that. Plus, Arnold Schwarzenegger will definitely not be back to Munich's airport anytime soon. Why the Terminator actor was detained for nearly 3 hours. And, it's time to forget about the weather, right? The snow anyways, at least for a couple of minutes, because later this hour, we're going to be sailing to the Bahamas, where our very own Chris Van Cleef gives us a grand tour of the biggest cruise ship in the world. So stay with us for the ultimate voyage. We are going to begin, though, with the escalating situation in the Middle East. The U.S. conducted its fourth round of strikes against Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen in just under a week. U.S. Central Command says that the strikes took out 14 missiles that were loaded and ready to be fired. And it follows a Houthi attack that struck a U.S.-owned and operated commercial ship in the Gulf of Aden. That strike caused some damage, but no injuries were reported. Yesterday, the White House redesignated Yemen's Houthi rebels as a specially designated global terrorist group, reversing a previous decision by the State Department from 2021. Pakistan launched retaliatory strikes on Iran, killing at least 9 people, according to the Associated Press. The strikes allegedly targeted militant hideouts near the border between the two countries, and it comes after Iran fired missiles on Pakistan, Iraq, and Syria earlier this week, worsening fears of a wider conflict in the region. Caroline Davies from our partners at the BBC has more in Pakistan.
This morning, we heard from Pakistan's foreign ministry, who confirmed that Pakistan had hit what they refer to as terrorist hideouts inside an area of Iran. Now, they used very similar language to the language that had been used by Iran's foreign minister yesterday when he was justifying why Iran had hit what it refers to as terrorist groups inside Pakistan's borders. Now, it's interesting that these two countries are using these similar languages and talking about the militant groups rather than the state that they are hitting. Pakistan referred to Iran as being a brotherly country. Now, those relationships, that brotherly relationship, is certainly under tension at the moment. What we are waiting to hear back from is whether or not Iran escalates this further. We've heard in the course of the last hour or so that they have condemned this particular attack that happened inside its borders. Will there be anything further? We're waiting to see. Anne-Marie.
All right, Caroline, thank you very much. Well, some much-needed medicine arrived in Gaza today for the dozens of Israeli hostages still being held by Hamas. A senior Hamas official said that for every aid box provided for the hostages, 1,000 boxes of medicine would be sent for Palestinians. The shipment is part of a deal brokered by Qatar and France, and the first agreement between Israel and Hamas since the week-long ceasefire in November. Well, despite the agreement, fierce fighting rages on in Gaza. The Israeli military says that it has killed around 60 terrorists in just the past day. The IDF also claims to have located grenades, AK-47s, and other weapons during a raid in southern Gaza. And we're going to have continuing coverage on the war in the Middle East, of course. A little later on in the hour, I'm going to be joined by CBS News foreign correspondent Chris Livesay with more from Israel. Well, President Biden and top congressional leaders met at the White House yesterday again to discuss the deadlock surrounding the national security package. But it appears that they are still far from reaching an agreement. The $110 billion measure includes aid for Ukraine, funding for other allies, and money for security at the U.S. southern border. But Republicans are demanding tougher measures at the border and a change in U.S. immigration policies before they're willing to support a package.
We must insist that the border be the top priority.
に行ったりするの。